Hey guys, Troy here. Welcome to the Striker Blade YouTube channel. Today I have a unboxing of this GPU. This is the SRhonyra, maybe is how it's pronounced. So this is a unique card. They're available on Amazon. This is the 1650 low profile, but it's a single slot card, or advertised as a single slot card. Now, I've never heard of this brand before, so I was certainly hesitant before making my purchase, but I guess some green flags would be this is fulfilled by Amazon or shipped by Amazon, so you can get Prime shipping. So this arrived in 2 days, and there are some reviews for the product. And yeah, other than that, I've never heard of this brand before, so let's go ahead and open this up and see exactly what we have here. Full height bracket. Here's the GPU. Feels kind of heavy, so that might be something positive. If you Google this company name, there is one result that comes up with this company's name, SONGREY. The instructions are fairly detailed in terms of how you can set up multiple monitors and installing drivers. Here's the card itself. This is surprisingly heavy, much heavier than any other low-profile card I have held. And the reason why is the aluminum heatsink covers almost the entire area of the card. The 1650 should be good for 70 watts. Most coolers are designed only for like 50 watt applications for these low profile cards. So this does appear to be at first glance up to the task. All right, now I'm not an expert on these, how cards are manufactured, but this may provide some insight on if this is potentially a MSI or Gigabyte board that has been refurbished. Now, my initial impressions is this card is brand new. I don't see any signs of resoldered parts. I don't see any signs of fingerprints or dirt or dust. I of course want to give kudos when kudos is due, and so frequently you will find these low profile cards ship with the high profile bracket. This comes with a low profile bracket installed, and you can see easy access to both of the screws. Here we have a RX 6400 XT, and right away you can see just how small the heatsink is on this particular cooler. It actually vents out the back just a little bit more than it vents out the front. To swap out the low profile bracket, there's a screw underneath here. Kind of frustrating when you have to take off this entire shroud just to swap out that bracket. You can see in this side-by-side comparison, the card is roughly 2 full centimeters shorter compared to the 6400. Okay, we have it set up here in the computer, and everything seems to be working fine. I did install the drivers already and no issues there. However, if you listen, this system is pretty loud now. I just ran a simple benchmark that went through a few things, and you can see the highest GPU temperature, 77 Celsius. And just scrolling down here in case you're interested in all the other values. Fan speed here, this actually ramped up pretty smoothly and evened out. And you can see we were pretty much power limited the entire time there. If we look at GPU-Z, we can see we have the TU117 chip. Looks like our shaders are correct, and as I mentioned, this is in an older PC, so we are looking at 16, looks like 16, should be byte 2.0. Yep, so we can see that jump up there, and we'll just take a look at the sensors in here. So it looks like we're at 1875. I've had Furmark running for the last 24 minutes, and we have come in at around 83 Celsius. It looks like the cooler on this GPU is actually working pretty well. This may be a little confusing to see. During that benchmark, we did reach 100% fan speed, so I guess somewhat positive to see that even with 100% fan speed under load, we're still under 85 Celsius. And it looks like power draw, as expected, right under 67. I'm sorry, 67. And then you can see our memory clocks and core clocks there. Last thing I wanted to check out is overclocking. And I'm able to push about 600 megahertz on the memory, and that gets us up to just under 150 gigabytes a second. And with FurMark, and I'm not going to do too much testing with this overclock, with FurMark, it consumes a lot of power, of course, so the frequency here is dropped down, and really I'm just not getting much performance. It's throttling either way, so I have it locked here to what would be 1665, but as you can see, it's throttling that down because it's hitting the power limit. I will show you though, we are getting about 73 FPS with the overclock, and if I reset that, you'll see our frequency jump up a little bit, but our memory certainly drops, and we're down to 68 FPS. So we can get a little bit more out of this card, roughly 10%, so that's kind of cool. Here's something I wasn't exactly expecting to see. I have put the 6400 XT back into the system, as you can see here, and running the same FurMark 720p test, and we are running almost 50% faster at 107 FPS or so. I find that very interesting. I'm not sure why there would be such a performance advantage to the 6400 considering the PCIe slot limitation. Here's a better look at the cooler itself. Fairly simple. Just a little fan, blower style fan, and then fins that extend all the way up to the display port. This is underneath the heatsink. We have a manufacture date here. This is March 2023, so a couple months ago there. Samsung memory. Might have to be some sort of custom board because I am only familiar with the Gigabyte and MSI variants having a DVI connector right here, which would extend out into the second slot. So it looks like this board is designed specifically for this GPU. And we do in fact have a TU117 silicon in this GPU. Let's go ahead and wrap things up for this card. I am somewhat impressed that they were able to cool almost 70 watt GPU in a single slot design. Side by side though, and I did not mention this earlier, it is actually a little bit thicker than this RX 6400, not by a whole lot, but the biggest downside is certainly the sound of this fan. It is quite loud, and for me that's kind of a deal breaker regardless of performance. And as for performance, I'm not sure why this card is performing better, all things considered. I'm not going to put any more troubleshooting into it. It's most likely the PC that I used. It's an old PC, it's first gen i7 CPU, and that's probably why we're seeing the results that we did with these cards. It's a 10-year-old system, so that's just the performance that we got for this video. But all things indicate that this is in fact a 1650 chip with the TU117 silicon. And I guess with that being said, that's all that I have for this video. If you guys have questions, certainly leave a comment. I'll be responding to those, and I'll see you next video.